second part, we are going to start with the city of Antwerp, and that Flanders is an innovative region within the European community is proven by the city of Antwerp. Antwerp currently counts 512,000 inhabitants. It's one of the big Belgian touristic cities, and many people study and work in the city of Antwerp. How do you inform all of those categories in one of the biggest challenges for our next speaker, Joris Heirbaut? He is Director Media and Communications of the City of Antwerp. The City of Antwerp developed a media strategy to ensure that the right message was delivered to the right audience at the right time. The city focused its strategy on digital communication channels. Despite the apparent success of this choice, printed communications also remain a key element in the media mix used by the City of Antwerp. How does the City of Antwerp go about purchasing its print efficiently? When you know that every government organization is bound to respect all kinds of purchasing laws, this is no easy task. But Joris and his team found a way to overcome all of those issues. So I ask a warm welcome to Joris Heirbaut.
Good afternoon. Is this on? Yes? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joris Heirbaut, and as I was introduced, I'm working for the City of Antwerp. I'm working there now for 6 years. Before I had a career in agencies. So I'm a public servant. Are there any other public servants over here? Oh, 1, 2, that's something. So I'm the second speaker, which is actually not in the graphic industry. But anyhow, I would like, as was announced, bring a story on how we procure print these days in Antwerp. 512,000 people living in Antwerp that are my daily clients, as a matter of fact. And Antwerp is a fantastic product to work for, and therefore, let's have a look at this video. I hope it works, and you can see what the product is I'm working for. Small introduction to the product I'm working for. We have a marketing strategy, and that's a very simple one. The marketing strategy, our baseline is just, we want you with us. That's very clear. We address to a number of groups, especially through entrepreneurs, to business, to students, to the academic life. We call it brains. We want people to come visit Antwerp, to shop in Antwerp. But most of all, we also want our citizens, our inhabitants, to live a good life in Antwerp. So we want them with us, and actually we need to communicate with them as well. We have two kinds of communication actually in Antwerp, and the first one is the less interesting one. We have a legal obligation actually to communicate any kind of decision the city government or a district government is taking. Most of the time we do this just on digital. That is not actually the marketing communication you might know. So the marketing communication, actually our goal is to inform, synthesize or enthuse all these different target groups, these audiences, so they feel involved and they are willing actually to participate in the city community. So as for communication, we have quite some different needs for different target audiences, and we use plenty of channels, so to communicate different messages. We have one corporate brand, that's the red square with the white A and the orange rays. We have a kind of a complicated brand architecture. You might see some extra elements to our logo, but the most important message I would like to bring here is that we are a decentralized organization. Actually, as is listed up there, we have a lot of, as I would call them, city entities that communicate one-on-one with their audiences. So we have districts, we have neighbor councils, we have the police, we have schools, we have theaters, we have swimming pools, we have all kinds of counters and services. And actually what we do is we decentralize the communication responsibility, and all these entities, they communicate one-on-one with their audiences because they know their audience at the best, we believe. So the big challenge is indeed to communicate the right message at the right time to the right audience. And in our media mix, we believe that we can solve a lot we can cope with this challenge to make a choice for digital. We have like 20-25 websites in the air. If it comes to social media, we have more than 150 social media channels to manage. That's a lot. But in addition, we also do print. And we know that still a lot of people don't cope with digital. And we have to communicate to each and everyone. So to these 512,000 people, there are people with low language skills. Some people are not, or some citizens are not yet digitalized. People live also in deprivation. So we see that just print communication on paper does the job there. But on top, we also do outdoor campaigning. It's very often event related. We dress the city with big events. If there's very small local communication, we put letters in the doors, in the letter boxes. We have city magazines, and on top, we also have a lot of functional print, stationery, but also tax forms, penalty forms, course material. So this makes a lot of print in total, and if you can, as you can see, actually this is over the last 3 years. If it just comes to this marketing communication, we had about 3,000 different titles of print. Last year it was a bit less. If it comes to tonnage, then you see that we print over 100 ton in 2016, so that's quite a lot. And if it comes to spendings, we spent more than €1 million in 2016. 893,000 euro last year. We have to buy print, and if you're working for a public legal entity, that's not so easy, because we just can't go on the market. We're restricted by a number of laws and rules. The basic rule is actually that if we buy, there should be equality and transparency. So if we put a tender into the market, all tenders should stand an equal chance. If there's any change that is communicated to one tender, it should be communicated to each tenderer. We have an e-procurement procedure for print if it goes up to 20,000 euro. And we also have a system which we call the public report of awarding. So once you win a tender, then you get this reward of award report, and you will understand why you won or why you lost the tender. The tender is mostly awarded to the most economically advantageous tender. What does this mean? A lot of people think this is just price related. It's not the case. Actually, we can determine a number of criteria, such as price, quality, the action plan, lead time, sustainability, or responsibility. And the offer, we score this by percentage. For instance, the price would be 30%, quality 30%, and the other 4 points 10%. And the offer with the highest total score, that party will win the tender. I'm oftenly asked, why does the city not shop on the web? Well, we cannot shop on the web because that stands against the two principles of the equality and the transparency. And most of the time, a lot of shops are, especially if you see like all these entities within the city, they could go on a web shop for print, but financial flows are very difficult then because, for instance, often you're asked to have a credit card. Within the city, there are no credit cards. In 2002, I believe we had a crisis, the visa crisis in Antwerp, and ever since, there's no credit card available anymore within the city. How we used to procure print then? Oftenly, the elephant is eaten in pieces, and we call this the salami technique. Actually, what we do is you have like a municipal entity. When it's an offer or a job below 22,000 euro. We just put an offer request in the market. We send this to 3 companies. They each offer their price offer. We make up an award report. We put the offer in our SAP flow, and we order the print job. That is a good way of working because you have a great flexibility in timing. You can take advantage of promotions, or you can actually look to different products. So you have a great flexibility and freedom. But it's quite time consuming because for every order, actually, you have to make up this process. Especially for repetitive orders, this is not very budget friendly. And it's also hard to build up this relationship with printing companies. And it's also hard to set up some quality standards. If we have some repetitive printed material, then most of the time this is for a budget above 22,000 euro. Then the procurement entity of the city will put a big e-procurement tender in the market, and then any company, printing company interested, you can put this offer. We get different offers. We make an award report again. We put actually the winning offer into our SAP flow, and then each municipal city can start with ordering repetitive print orders. Okay, there are also some pros for this, and this is again because we have a framework contract. This is time saving, it's more budget friendly, but the problem here is that you're stuck to fixed prices for several years. And that's a bit of a problem because, as we heard this morning, prices are evolving and we cannot take any kind of advantage of these evolving prices. And also, most of the time, if you have like a framework contract, it only fits the needs of one municipal entity. Okay, then 4 years ago, actually, we decided to put a big tender in the market for a large set of printed materials. Again, big tender, then several printing companies put their price. We made an award report, and this time we also asked, actually, or we, as a requirement in the tender, we asked for a web shop. So the winning printing company offered us a web shop, a closed web shop, and any municipal entity could actually put this order into this web shop. Again, this web shop was then connected with our SAP financial flow, and we were ongoing for 4 years. Very nice for us because, again, time saving. This time you work with one printing company, you can set up some quality standards, ecological criteria, etc. But you commit yourself for 4 years to one printing company. So you don't take advantage of price evolvement, or you don't take advantage of any kind of new technologies, and also you're stuck like to line up for several years. Okay, so beginning 2017, we all give this a rethought, and we wanted to actually to procure our print in a different way. So we had a wish list. First of all, we would like to have like a broad range of printed materials. So any kind of printed material would have to be in the contract that we would start up. So also we would like to have a variable product lineup because communication needs to change, and this means that for a period we need this certain product, but after a while we need again another product. As I said before, pricing is indeed very important to a public government. Some good, reliable quality and fast production lead times. And actually, we thought that we should have a kind of mini competition between several printing companies on a half-yearly date of half-yearly, so that we could update our products and prices. And also, next to the wishes for the printer or the printing companies, we needed a web shop. Actually, a web shop that is not does not belong to the printing company, but a print shop that is of our own, that we can manage ourselves, that we can actually, the output of this print shop that can be linked then with several printing companies, also can be linked with our SAP financial flow, and also could be used for other products. We buy prints, but we also buy translations, we buy editing, copywriting, we buy photography. Okay, and this would then be the ideal flow, that any municipal entity could go to this general, or this print web shop, actually put in some SAP data, would process the print order, and that it would be printed by company 1, 2, or 3, but actually the user does not know where it is printed. To the user, it doesn't matter whether it's printed by company 1, 2, or 3. We have several companies behind one front store. We would have then delivery and the invoicing. Okay, so actually what we needed to fulfill this ideal flow was a pool of printing companies that are actually willing to join this new way of procurement, and also willing to join these mini competitions we would organize every half year. And we needed a closed white label web shop that would offer us the requested flexibility. So we had a first tender to actually compose this pool of printing companies. In the end, we contracted 20 printing companies for 4 years. And we organized now, or we are going to organize now for the second time, this mini competition. And company X can win a mini competition for product X within a certain category, but at the same time, company Y could win the mini competition for product Y within the same company. So again, users don't know where their product is printed. That's all behind the scenes. Okay, and then we needed also the white label shop. There was, first of all, by our partner Digipolis, who's taking care of all IT material or IT hardware and software for the city of Antwerp and Ghent. They put this challenge in the market. There was a selection of tendering with white shops, of course with a specific know-how on print, some negotiation and a best and a final offer. And in the end, we contracted a print industry for 4 years. And then we had to bring this all together last year in, I believe it was November, December, that we did actually start the testing, but we had to organize these mini competitions. We had to set up the web shops. There are more than 200 products and more than 400 individual users. They all have different kinds of rights of role, so they cannot order all products. Some have just limited access to the web shop. Within the city, there are several SAP flows. Also, this has to be linked. The output of the web shop had to be integrated with the working flow of the selected printing companies in the pool. We had to train to inform the users, and then the testing. And in the end, we got live within 5 months after awarding. And since January, I think we have been already processing more than 1,000 print orders through this web shop. That's what it looks like. In the front end, it's just an ordinary print web shop, but behind the technology or the way we actually organize the web shop is quite different from what we used to do. So that's my story, and I'd like to end with this slide. As a public servant, I'm always at your service. Thank you.